Hello everyone, my name's Mark Corcoran. Arthur Butler and I are co-authors of Metal Uniform Embellishments of the Australian Army, post-1953, the Queen Elizabeth II series Insignia. Volume 1 covers insignia for corps, schools and philanthropic organisations, as most of you would be aware. In our last blog post we discussed rarely seen uniform insignia, and in particular oversized RAR bonnet badges for the RAR Band. On this occasion we're going to have a look at some of the Federation Guard belt buckles which are covered in Volume 1 and some additional variations that you might not have seen. So let's get started. In the last blog post we pointed you to these images which were taken from the online dress manual available on the Australian Army website a number of years ago. I'm not sure whether that still remains available, but this picture, this image of Scottish dress used by the RAR Band, was discussed in our last episode, and in that episode we were talking about these oversized RAR bonnet badges. At the time we also mentioned that we'd have a look at this chromed buckle and the RAR insignia that's on it, and so let's have a bit of a look now. You can see the buckle there, chrome buckle, and the standard hat badge sized insignia item on it, as well of course as the RAR oversized bonnet badge which we discussed last time. And if we use this photo we can again see what we saw last time, the oversized bonnet badge being worn, standard size collars, standard size hat badge on a chromed belt buckle. These are the items that we're going to be looking at in this particular blog post and variations related to them. So we'll now have a look at how these items have been covered in the manuscript for Volume 1. Here we have the entry for CB05 Bravo, General Service Rising Sun hat badges in post-97 period. And on this page we can see, if I scroll a little bit more slowly, at the bottom of page 34 you can see this General Service hat badge with these unusual screw post fittings on the back. We'll just have a look at how the Federation Guard buckle and badge look as per the book entry. You can see here these dome-headed nuts which secure the badge with its threaded fittings to the buckle, and in particular we were careful when we put the book together to show you the threaded mounting hardware on the back of the otherwise standard badge, and the way the dome-headed nuts fit onto that threaded fitting. You can see here the badge has been disassembled into its component parts, the badge with its threaded fittings facing down, but you can see the dome-headed chrome nuts sitting there, and you can see how they fit onto the badge. The book then goes on to discuss, as you can see here, the Royal Australian Armoured Corps, CB06, but that's as far as the book takes you in terms of these variations. It does mention earlier on the buckle associated with the 1980s period. And let's have a quick look at a close-up of those images now. Here we see the back of the 1980s to early 1990s dress buckle with the skewered roux motif, and you can see it was clearly made by Stokes Australia Limited. This is the front of that pressed image. This item, of course, is not commonly seen these days. But for the rest of the blog post, we're going to have a look at some of the current issue items which are available and variations of them. Some of you may not have seen them, so it's worthwhile going through them in detail. Here is the current issue buckle with a current issue hat badge with screw fittings on the back of it. This is an apparently unusual variant. It's the gold background with the chrome buckle on the front, which is somewhat reminiscent of the RAR buckle that we saw before, which was chrome with a standard gold hat badge on the front. This seems to be a reverse of the colour scheme, using a general service badge instead of the RAR Band badge. Whether or not this is simply a mixing of the chrome hat badge from the chrome buckle with the gold buckle base and the gold plated hat badge removed remains to be seen, but it is an interesting oddity. This is a look at the back of the buckle, which is not different to what you would have seen in our previous posts on these issues or in the book itself. You can see here chromed dome-headed nuts fastening the badge to the badge body. This is a slightly unusual version. Those of you who are familiar with 1980s, 1990s polyester uniform dress would recognize this narrower belt buckle frame as being consistent with what was on issue at that time, but it shows here a current issue hat badge in situ. So whether these items have been remanufactured and issued is yet to be determined, but this does appear to be an older style badge buckle, belt buckle. If we look on the back, you can see this hinged system for where it mates to the webbing, and a much more elaborate latching system for the female end of the buckle to attach to. Again, quite reminiscent of the 1980s, early 1990s item. You can see the same dome-headed nut fittings on the back of the buckle body itself. Again, something of an oddity. We're looking here at a modern issue gold belt buckle with a bright metal or chromed RAR hat badge in situ, the exact opposite colour combination of the one that we saw in the approved dress manual photos at the beginning of this blog, which was chrome with the gold hat badge. This is gold with a chrome or brushed metal hat badge in situ, this one on red facing cloth. And again, if we have a look at the back, there's nothing particularly unusual about that. So we arrive at the end of this blog, having looked at a couple of belt buckle variations. We hope that that information is of value to you, and we wish you happy collecting and successful researching. Thank you.